Good morning students, welcome to our online class. I am S. Mohanasundari, Department of Chemistry. So in this session we are going to discuss chapter 2 elements, compounds and mixture. In our last video we have discussed elements, symbols of elements, compounds, mixtures, types of mixtures, that is homogeneous mixture, heterogeneous mixture. In this today's session we are going to learn differences between that mixture and compounds and the separation of solid-solid mixture methods and activities based on that separation. Okay, first see mixtures and compounds, the differences between mixtures and compounds. What is mixture? It consists of two or more elements or compounds not chemically combined. Mixture means there will be combination, but that will be not a chemically combined. So two or more elements or two or more compounds present in it, but they are not chemically combined. Compounds, just opposite to this mixture, the elements present in that compounds are chemically combined. So for example, mixture we can take means air. So air contains various gases, dust, smoke. They are combined but not chemically combined. But if we take compound means example water. Water consists of hydrogen element and oxygen element. They are combined together at fixed proportion. That means fixed composition. So if we take mixture, the third point, it can be separated by simple physical methods. So I am giving on salad means you can pick that vegetables. If you like cucumber means you can pick that cucumber and eat. You can take that cucumber. If you like the small sweet potatoes or small tomatoes means you can pick that and eat. So it can be separated by very simple physical methods, but in compounds we cannot do like that. So we cannot separate by simple physical methods. It needs some chemical methods to separate. As well as mixture does not have fixed composition. I already said they are just combined. So they does not have a fixed composition, but compounds have fixed composition. If water means 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. So like that fixed ratio. Carbon dioxide means 1 carbon and 2 oxygen. So like that they are fixed, they are combined in fixed composition, but mixture they does not combine at fixed composition. So your eatable snacks, that is dry fruit mixture means there will be some dry nuts, badam, cashews, pistas, raisins. So like that they are mixed together but not at fixed composition. If you are buying at particular shop means they add more number of cashews, more grams of cashews. If you are buying at another shop means they add more grams of badam. So like that does not have fixed composition. So mixture does not have fixed composition, but compounds have fixed composition. At the same time, mixture does not have fixed melting and boiling point. So we haven't seen they are just combined, not chemically combined. They does not have fixed composition, so that they does not have fixed melting and boiling point. But compounds have fixed melting and boiling point because they had fixed composition. They are mixed at particular ratio. They are chemically combined, so they have fixed melting and boiling point. If you are taking water means it starts boiling at particular temperature, that means 100 degrees Celsius. So it starts boiling. If you are taking ice cube means at particular temperature it starts melting. So these are the basic differences between mixture and compounds. Shall we move on to the separation methods? So I already said mixture. Mixture means various compounds is present in it. So we have to separate because we need separation to use that particular thing. So why separation is needed in a mixture? Why separation is needed? To remove an undesirable component, that means unwanted component. To remove a harmful component which harmful to us. If we are eating a particular thing means if there is some particular harmful substance mixed means if we eat them it will cause some stomach ache or particular health issues. So we have to remove that harmful component, and also we need pure sample. So we have to use pure substance, right? So like that pure sample we have to obtain pure sample, so that separation is needed. And also to obtain useful component, it should be useful. So to remove undesirable component means our mama will buy rice. Before cooking that rice, she will remove that unwanted stones in it, as well as that is an undesirable component. Stone is an undesirable component, she will separate that. As well as harmful component, if we are having a wheat flour, we are having that wheat flour for several days. After seeing a particular day, you can see that small insects present in it. So we will separate that insects in that flour by sieving. So it will be harmful to us, right? If we are eating, means that will cause some health issues. So to remove a harmful component, as well as to obtain pure sample. So I hope we are all drinking that purified water, RO water, and in some students' home there will be purifying machine, that is purifying aqua purifying machine. Filter systems will be there. So to obtain pure water, we are using that filtering machine, right? So we need only pure sample of substance, so that there we have to separate that harmful components. So RO water is separated from it is a pure form of water, because we are separating that bacteria is present in it, virus, parasites, fungi. So we are separating that harmful substance in that water, and we are obtaining a pure water after that osmosis process over. Reverse osmosis process gets over, we are obtaining a pure sample of water. As well as to obtain useful component, if we take crude oil, means there will be diesel, petrol, kerosene, lots of grease oil are present in that. So at particular method of separation, by step, we obtain kerosene at one step, we obtain diesel at one step, we obtain petrol at one step. So there is a mixture of useful component in that crude oil, but we are separating them at particular stage. So these are all the main points to separate. So we need separation to obtain useful component, pure sample of component. So we can separate them by physical properties such as hardness, size of particles, density, solubility, and their behavior towards magnet, their volatility, that means evaporation, it will get easily vaporized. So like that volatility and their boiling points, we can separate the mixtures. So if you are seeing that sugar, we can easily say that sugar is white in color. It is somewhat hard. If we mix that in water, means it get dissolves. It gives sweet taste. It is like a crystal in structure. So like that we are easily identifying some properties now. So that is physical properties. So in ice cube, you can see that ice cube is a solid form of liquid, that means solid form of water, and it starts melting when the temperature increases. And liquid, it takes the shape of the container, it flows very easily, and it also boils at high temperature. And metal box, it is very strong, it is in a particular shape, we cannot beat them, we cannot compress them. So these are the physical properties. If we beat that metal box, means it produces sound. So these are the properties, physical properties we can say to the particular thing, particular component. So we can separate the mixture by this kind of physical properties. So how will you separate? I am giving a tea, I am preparing a tea, and I will give it as it is, means you can drink it up. No, we have to filter the tea leaves. After preparing a tea, we have to filter it. Now I am giving a gems nuts mixture. I am telling you to pick that green color gems, means you can easily pick that green color, because it is easily identifiable. We can classify them according to their color and shapes. So it is a physical property. And we are mixing water and oil. Water is a liquid and oil is also liquid, but the density will vary. So we can separate them by some particular liquid separation process. And in rice, the stones will be present in it. So we can present the stones by hand picking. We can remove the stones in rice by picking the stones by our hands. So we can separate it. In our daily life itself, we are separating lots of things without our knowledge, right? So these are all mixtures, and we are separating by our some known way. But In this session we can come to a conclusion, we can come to an idea, oh these are all the methods we are using, that like we can come to an idea. Okay, some methods of separation. Solid and solid mixture separation. If a mixture contain only solid things means we can tell it as a solid solid mixture, and if a solid and liquid are mixed together means we can separate them by solid liquid mixture method. If it is liquid liquid mixture means we can separate them by liquid liquid mixture separation method. So there is some methods of separation. Solid solid is differ, solid liquid is differ, liquid liquid is differ, but in this session we are going to learn solid and solid mixture of separation. In solid and solid mixture of separation there are 6 methods: hand picking, threshing, winnowing, sieving, magnetic separation, sublimation. So let us see the first method. Before that we have to get an idea about solid liquid separation. So sedimentation, decantation, loading, filtration, centrifugation, evaporation, crystallization, distillation, separating, funnel, these are all comes under solid liquid and liquid liquid mixture. But in this session we are going to learn only solid and solid mixture separation method. So the first method is hand picking. It is used for separating easily identifiable material from a mixture. In a mixture, a very easily identifiable mixture is separated by hand picking. So example, small pieces of stones are removed from rice or pulses or in wheat by this hand picking method. So we can easily pick the stones in the pulses or wheat or in rice. And the second method is threshing. So the grains are separated from the stalks by the process of threshing. The stems, we can separate that grains by beating that stem in particular place, particular thing. So in this, stalks are beaten into separate grains from the stalks and from the chaff that covers the grain. Stalk means that stem and the chaff means the outer cover of that particular grain. If you take in rice means lightweight thing that is called chaff that covers that grains. So by beating that we can separate the grains from the stalk and chaff. So being soft, that means you can see in this picture that chaff is that outer covering of grains. So this is the grain. In this chaff the grain will be present inside it. While beating, from the chaff the grains will be separated and the chaff and the stalks, that is the stem, will be separated. So the grains are beaten, but grains are hard so it cannot be broken, but the chaffs are soft. So by beating the grains remains unaffected, but the chaff separated from the grains. The third method, the first one is hand picking, second one is threshing, and the third one is winnowing. So winnowing, the husk is separated from the wheat grains by the method of winnowing. That is, husk is separated from the grains with the help of wind. Husk is nothing but apart from the chaff there will be a lighter materials, lighter substance will be mixed with that grains. So we have to remove that, right? So that husk also removed by the method of winnowing. Winnowing means with the help of wind the husk is separated from the grains. This method is based on the fact that husk is very very light in weight. That means comparing to grains the husk is very light in weight, so it is separated by using wind. So we take a winnowing basket, we are putting grains in that and we are shaking to the front and back. Due to that flow of wind, that husk present in that grains are moved to the direction of that flow of wind. So it will taken to the apart from the grains and it fell down at particular place, and the grains will be fell down to the straight of that winnowing basket. So in this picture we can get an idea. So the husk is moved towards the direction of the wind, that grains fell down straight to the ground. So the third method is winnowing. By using the wind we are separating, so that is winnowing. And the fourth method is sieving. A sieve is a shallow vessel having small holes at its bottom. So a shallow vessel having small holes. There will be small holes at the bottom of that sieve. So iron mesh is also used nowadays as a sieve. You can see in your home itself this type of sieve. So iron mesh, that means stainless steels are using as a sieve. So this method of separating a mixture is called sieving. By using sieve, we are separating some particular mixture, means the method of that separation is called sieving. So we can separate the wheat flour, maida, atta. So I already said that insects present in the flour will be separated by sieving. So if we are shaking that sieving with flour, through the holes, that flour will fell into the bottom, and that insects or small particles or some size varying particles will stay at the top of that sieve. And also this sieving is used in construction sites to separate the fine sand as well as the pebbles, stones present in it. So those solid mixtures are separated by this sieving methods by having different sizes. So we get two components by this method, one having small particles and another having larger particles. So we can see in this picture itself, fine sand, normal size sand, and it goes to the very big size of stones and small size of stones and another very minute stones. So in solid itself there will be varying sizes, small to large. So to separate this, we can use sieving with having holes. If we need very fine sand, means you have to sieve that with very fine hole sieving. If we need a medium size of sand, means we have a sieve with medium size of holes. So like that we can separate the bran from the wheat flour, that means a husk like thing from the wheat flour. At construction sites also they are using to separate the fine sands from pebbles and larger particles. And the next one is magnetic separation. Magnetic separation means separation of mixture by using magnet. So iron is attracted towards the magnet. We already know that iron will be attracted towards the magnet. So this property is used to separate that iron from mixture. For example, a mixture of iron fillings and sulfur powder can be separated by using a magnet. So iron fillings means minute iron, finest iron particles or mixed in a powder, not a sulfur powder or mixing in the sand also we can separate by magnet. So this is because iron fillings are attracted towards the magnet, whereas sulfur is not attracted by the magnet. So I am taking one magnet and showing near to that mixture. The iron fillings in the mixture get attracted towards the magnet, and the remaining mixture will be retained in that same beaker. So this is because why the iron is attracted towards the magnet. So I can separate easily that iron fillings from that submixture by using magnet. So a magnet can be used to separate a magnetic substance from non-magnetic substance. Non-magnetic substance means iron, these are all magnetic substance, and non-magnetic substance means apart from iron or other things are all non-magnetic substance. So there is a different types of iron: bar magnetic, bar magnet, horseshoe magnet, U-shaped magnet. Okay, where it is used? Apart from that minute or minimum amount of mixture, for huge mixture also we can separate iron things, iron particles, that means scrap metals. So we can use huge size of magnet. So waste materials which are supplied to the factories to recycle. Nowadays we are recycling plastics. So like that the waste iron particles are also recycled to another purpose. So that like the waste things, that is waste scrap metals, are all collected. So the waste scrap metals are all collected by using huge size of magnet. So these waste materials are supplied to the factories by using this electromagnet. So the electromagnet is nothing but if we pass electricity, it will act like a magnet. So it is easy to having bar magnet and separate that things from that huge massive solid mixture? No. So we need huge size of magnets, so that only these electromagnets are used. These electromagnets works under electricity. So in the heap of waste materials we can separate that scrap metal. Scrap metal is nothing but iron things. So we can separate that scrap metals by using these electromagnets when it is fitted to the crane. So let us see an activity. So the materials required are magnet, 2 plates, iron fillings, grain flour, sugar, soil, anything you can take. So mix the iron fillings into the grain flour with sugar, with soil, because these are all non-magnetic substance. Only the iron fillings are magnetic substance. Now take the magnet near to the mixture. While doing this process, the iron fillings are attracted towards that magnet, and the remaining non-magnetic substance are left behind in that plate itself. So we can separate iron fillings from a mixture by using this magnetic separation method. And the last one is sublimation. Sublimation is very easy. The changing of solid directly into gas, or changing of gas directly into solid without the interconversion of liquid is called sublimation. So when we give heat, the solid directly changes into gas. That is called sublimation. As well as when I am giving cooling to a particular gas, it directly changes into solid. This is called sublimation. They do not convert into liquid state. And the substance which undergoes sublimation, a particular substance will undergo sublimation, means that particular substance is called sublime. The particular solid substance is called sublime, and the solid substance obtained by cooling the sublime vapor is known as sublimate. So I already said solid to vapor as well as vapor to solid. So the solid to vapor means that particular solid is called sublime, as well as that vapor to solid. While it is converting as a vapor, from the vapor it is converted as a solid, means that particular sublime vapor, that particular substance obtained now, so that is called sublimate. So sublime means the solid substance which undergoes sublimation is called sublime. And what is sublimate means the substance obtained by cooling the vapor is called sublimate. After cooling the vapor we get some substance, so that is called sublimate. Examples, so which are all undergoes the sublimation process means ammonium chloride, iodine, camphor, these are all substance which undergoes this sublimation process. And also mothballs. In our home we use this, that means naphthalene ball also we can say it. We can use this to protect the cloths without any insects, and we are using in a bookshelves also. So like that, it is a solid. After few days we can see that, identify that size of that mothballs will be decreased, it will be reduced, because due to the surrounding temperature it directly converted into gaseous state without turning into liquid. So if you are taking ice cream, means it starts melting, right? It turns into liquid. But this sublimation process, the substance which does not converted into liquid but directly changes into gas is called sublimation. So mothballs are example for that. And also dry ice. Dry ice means carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a gas. So carbon dioxide is a gas. Some particular chemical process we making this dry ice. So gas is converted into solid. That means dry ice. Dry ice is a solid thing. So the gas is converted into solid. So this dry ice is used for cooling the substance in ice cream parlors, as well as the marketing, while we are exporting some huge kind of fishes or some eatable items or some organic items. To avoid the spoilage of that particular thing, we using this dry ice to cool that. Apart from water gets surrounding temperature and easily the temperature of that particular ice cube will be increased, but dry ice will stay for long time as a solid, because it will give some coolness to that organic substance. So it is used in industries like exporting, importing process. So these are also example for sublimation. And activity, shall we do an activity? Take a funnel, china dish, wire gauze, tripod stand, ammonium chloride, common salt, cotton wool, Bunsen burner. So the procedure is like a setup. So we can set this apparatus by using this picture like this. So in china dish you can take an common salt and ammonium chloride. I already said ammonium chloride is a substance which undergoes sublimation. So I am putting common salt and ammonium chloride together in a china dish. Now it's look like a same mixture. We cannot separate ammonium chloride from common salt. So it is mixed. Now I am going to separate this. So cover the china dish with inverted funnel. So I am inverting one funnel into the china dish by to cover, and I also plug one cotton to that opening of that funnel. Now I am giving heat to that mixture. So after some time the heat is evolved and that fumes, white color fumes are observed along the upper side of the funnel. That means that vapor from that solid directly changes into vapors. Ammonium chloride is a sublimation, undergoes sublimation process. That means it is a sublime, it directly converts into vapor, so that while giving heat it directly converts into vapor by giving a white fumes. So there is no place to escape. So it will be evolved only inside that funnel, so that it will settles in the sides of the funnel. And the remaining common salt, it is a normal substance, so it cannot converted into liquid or a gas, so it remains in the beaker. Now I am separated common salt from ammonium chloride. That means it comes under solid separation method. So I am separated this ammonium chloride from common salt. So I can collect that white fume settled in that funnel. So I can collect that. So that is the solidified ammonium chloride. So I can collect that. So now I am separating common salt and ammonium chloride. So this is a great example for the sublimation process. As well as in our home at puja time we use camphor, right? Camphor, that white color thing, we use camphor while we giving fire, while using matchbox we giving heat to that camphor. It starts burning it because it acquires some heat. So after it starts burning, it will converts into liquid? Never. It directly changes into gaseous state. So in our daily life, in our home itself, we are doing on sublimation process. So now we can say that is an example for sublimation process. So camphor, ammonium chloride, mothballs, dry ice. So these are all example for sublimation process. I hope you all enjoy this session. You all understand this. Thank you students for your precious time spending on this. Thank you once again.